Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare जय जय राधे जय जय श्याम जय जय श्री वृंदावन धाम जय जय राधे जय जय श्याम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Jaya Radha Rasti Hari Radha Rasti Hari Shri Radha Jaya Radha Rasti Hari Radha Rasti Hari Shri Radha Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Shri Radha Ras Bihari ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premananda, Hari Hari Bol.
Let's clap for the kids loudly. Sending one out. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining this evening. So we have, I think the speakers are here, so let's welcome them. Where's my phone?
We will take them.
Okay, so today we have a special guest here. So all the kids above 7 years of age, they can go at the Dhruva class. So we have Roop from Harvard University here. She will be guiding all the kids on the career path line. So please, all the kids 7 years and above can go to Dhruva class. Seventh grade. Sorry, 7th grade and above. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome everybody. Thank you so much for your kind association on this very, very wonderful spiritual Saturday where we are celebrating the most auspicious Sri Narsimha Chaturdashi, which is actually tomorrow, but of course devotees are all excited, so we start the celebration a day early, right? So, and without further ado, I want to introduce, we have two very, very senior Vaishnava and Vaishnavis amidst us today. So we would like to welcome His Grace Sarvabhauma Prabhu and Her Grace Guru Bhakti Mataji, all the way from ISKCON Houston. So let's welcome them by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So Prabhuji and Mataji have been instrumental in bringing up the community in Houston. Both of them are sincere and dedicated disciples of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who was one of the senior most and foremost disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada's disciple Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj initiated both of them. They have been serving Houston, like I said, for almost more than 40 years, and they were instrumental in setting up the congregation there. Mataji is a physician, and then they have brought with them a lot of wonderful books of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, which are on display at our book center at the back. So please take time to go through those after the katha. And today Mataji will be enlightening us on the topic of teachings of Prahlāda Mahārāja, both Prabhuji and Mataji, on the occasion of Narsimha Chaturdashi tomorrow. So we will again welcome them, and then we'll hear from her lotus mouth on the glories of Sri Prahlāda Mahārāja. So let's chant the whole Hare Krishna Mahamantra and welcome them once again. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I think Kamal Krishna Prabhu did announce, right? Today we are also having a special program for the kids. We are going to do this monthly cadence of career and college seminars. So today we have Roop Patel, who is daughter of our beloved Vishakha Mataji, and Jay Prabhu. She is studying 3rd year law currently in Harvard Law School. So she will be guiding the kids in career and college counseling today. And like this, we'll continue this series every month for our teenagers. This is grades 9 and above. And for those kids who are still here, please make sure you go and attend that session. That's going to be wonderful. And then we'll also have our Bal Gopal class, which is for 5 to 8 years old. So that will continue in the meanwhile. Hare Krishna.
You can see that, right? Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So we usually sing Jai Radha Madhava before we start. Yes, that okay?
Jaya Radha Madhava Vanya Bihari Gopijana Vallabha
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So thank you very much for having us here to do this service. So we were requested to speak about the teachings of Prahlāda Mahārāja, and we thought that we will. There are 2 chapters in the 7th canto which describe the glories of Prahlāda Mahārāja, and we thought we will just do 1 chapter, and we will do it together, and we will show you the format we'd like to do it. So before we start, we'll say some praise. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruhu Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Tamal Krishna Goswami Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So we are going to speak about teachings of Prahlāda Mahārāja. And how many of you have Bhagavatam with you at home? And how many read it regularly? So many. Okay, good. I can see because you are chanting the prayers very nicely. So we thought instead of us speaking so much, we will read the prayers from the Bhagavatam because Srila Prabhupada's translation in the Sanskrit written by Vedavyas is very powerful. So we will do the Sanskrit and the English for most of the prayers. Okay? So you can see, yeah? Can you see from the back? So we will do this like we do Bhagavatam class. I say, you say. So, and then, so I will speak one line and then you respond. We'll do like that. And then when we come to the, can you hear me in the back? Or is it, we're good, okay. And then I will ask, what, do we have another microphone? Oh yes, perfect. So I'll ask you to take turns reading the translation. Okay, that way you're not falling asleep and we are engaging in it properly, yeah? Okay, so it's 7th canto, 6th chapter, text number 1 is what we are doing. Shri Prahlāda Uvacha Komaram Acharit Pragyo Dharman Bhagavatan Iha Dullabham Manusam Janma Tadapi Dhruvam Arthadam. Okay, who's the first volunteer who will read the translation? So speak so that, oh, you've got 2 microphones, so we can take turns. Very nice. Okay. Speak like you are speaking to a child. Or feedback from the... You can start?
Kaumara Acharya.
No, read the English.
Okay. Prahlāda Mahārāja said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection.
So Prahlāda Mahārāja, he's 5 years old, so he's talking about starting Krishna consciousness ideally from the beginning. For most of us, it's Kali Yuga, so most of us have not had a chance to live as brahmacharis in an ashram of a guru when we're 5 years old and learned Sanskrit and prayers and learn austerity and simplicity and guru seva. So most of us have not had that advantage. But Prahlāda Mahārāja is talking about the ideal situation. Actually, in the Vedic culture, the present life is a result of the previous lifetime. So actually, in the ideal situation, the parents perform garbhodhan samskara before they even conceive the child. So the parents are in Krishna consciousness when they conceive the child, so it helps the child begin from a wonderful Krishna conscious state. So we're not ideal, but fortunately Krishna consciousness is a very powerful process, and we have the perverts of Srila Prabhupada that explain how we can make spiritual advancement even despite so many imperfections. So
go to the next one. You want to read the sense one? Can you see? I'll start, then you can do the next one. Read also. Pumso varsha shatam hiyayus tad arthadam chajitat manaha nisvalam yad asauratriyam shete nidham prapitastamah. Okay, who would like to read the next one? Yes.
Every human being has a maximum duration of life of 100 years, but for one who cannot control his senses, half of those years are completely lost because at night he sleeps 12 hours, being covered by ignorance. Therefore, such a person has a lifetime of only 50 years.
Yes, so here Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying that 50% of our time on earth is spent in sleeping. And we may say we don't sleep 12 hours, but when we are children, we sleep a lot, right? And then of course there are some babies which are aborted in the womb. They don't have any life, right? And then later on as we get older, we may sleep less, but in average, this is what happens. So and nowadays, of course, who lives to 100 years, right? Most of us live less than that. So we have less than 50 years. And then he goes on to say the further dire situation.
Yatahi
Purushasheha
Vishnu Pado Pasarpanam Yadesha Sarvabhutanam Priya Admeshvara Surid.
Okay.
The human form of life affords one a chance to return home, back to Godhead. Therefore, every living entity, especially in the human form of life, must engage in devotional service to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. This devotional service is natural because Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the most beloved, the master of the soul, and the well-wisher of all other living beings.
Yes, Srila Prabhupada often quoted a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Sivaram Sarvabhutanam Yatva Shantim Richati. Krishna is saying that he is the enjoyer, the Bhoktaram. He's the Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He's the proprietor and controller of everything. And he's the Surit, the well-wishing friend of every living entity. So if we can just remember this, we'll always be sheltered. We're trying to be these things ourselves. We're trying to be the controller. We're trying to be the best friend of everyone. But Krishna is the Parameshwar. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Prahlāda realized this from a tender age of 5 years old, and we are trying to learn this through Krishna consciousness. So the best way is through chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So after we learn that Krishna is to be worshipped, he says further, Tat prayaso na kartavyo yata ayurvyaya param na tatha vindate shemam mukunda charanambujam.
Endeavors merely for sense gratification or material happiness through economic development are not to be performed, for they result only in the loss of time and energy, with no actual profit. If one's endeavors are directed towards Krishna consciousness, one can surely attain the spiritual platform of self-realization. There is no such benefit from engaging oneself in economic development.
So those of us who are good business people will say, how is this possible, right? Because in business you strive, if you're running it well, we try to make a profit. But in the ultimate sense, at the end of life, even if we make a profit for economic development, at the end of life, everything is gone. So therefore, Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying, if we only strive for material benefit, there is no profit. But if we strive for Krishna consciousness, then we are carrying a balance for our next life. So that is what he's recommending, that we should look at the long-term benefit rather than the short-term benefit of this human form of life. Then he goes on to say,
Tato yateta kushalaha
Tato yateta kushalaha
Shemaya Bhavam Ashrita
Shemaya Bhavam Ashritaha
Shariram Purusham Yavan
Shariram Purusham Yavan
Navipadita Pushkalam
Navipadita Pushkalam.
Therefore, while in material existence, bhavam ashritaha, a person fully competent to distinguish wrong from right must endeavor to achieve the highest goal of life as long as the body is stout and strong and is not embarrassed by dwelling.
So this material world is sometimes called bhava sindhu, the ocean of material existence. So there's the phrase bhavam ashrita. Prabhupada, in the purport of this verse, he says it could also be termed bhayam ashrita, the fearful state of, like if we're in an ocean of material existence, it's very scary to be out in the ocean. And if we trying to save ourselves is sometimes compared to trying to hold on to the tail of a dog to be carried across to the land from the ocean. So the material attempts at economic development and protecting ourselves by material means can't save us from this bhava ashrita, this the ocean of material existence.
So Mugdhasya balya kaishore Kridato yati vimsatihi Jaraya grasta dehasya Yati akalpasya vimsatihi
In the tender age of childhood, when everyone is bewildered, one passes 10 years. Similarly, in boyhood, engaged in sporting and playing, one passes another 10 years. In this way, 20 years are wasted. Similarly, in old age, when one is an invalid, unable to perform even material activities, one passes another 20 years wastefully.
So who has kept count? How many years are gone? 40 here and then 50 before, right? From 100. Yes? Yeah, so we've got 10 years left. That's what Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying. Yes, that how we are wasting our time. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying how the human form of life should not be utilized. What are the problems if we go through life without thinking of our future, right? And then he's going to tell us how we can utilize it better. What's the solution? He'll tell us in a bit.
Dura purena kamena.
Dura purena kamena.
Mohina chabaliyasa.
Mohina chabaliyasa.
Shesham griheshu saktasya.
Shesham griheshu saktasya.
Pramatasyo payati.
Pramatasyo payati.
One whose mind senses are uncontrollable becomes increasingly attached to family life because of insatiable lusty desires and very strong illusion. In such a madman's life, the remaining years are also wasted, because even during those years he cannot engage himself in devotional service.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Sometimes a person has a terminal cancer or some serious disease, will ask the doctor, give me 5 more years, or give me 3 more years, or give me 2 more years, or 1 year, but there's no guarantee that we can change the time of death. So therefore, whatever time we have, we should use wisely. I mean, in the material world, people are very much addicted to wasting time. And even us as devotees, it's very easy to get diverted. When someone actually dies, there's a thing called smashana vairagya. When you're at the funeral, everyone is serious. They see their family member or friend has died, and everyone is very serious for a little while. But it usually doesn't last. A few days later, we're back to our material dreams. But when someone dies in our family, it gives us just a taste of what is really valuable. And so we should cooperate with our family members and with our spiritual well-wishers. We should cooperate to advance in Krishna consciousness while we have the chance.
Ko griheshu puman saktam atmanam achitendriyaha sneha pashe dridair baddham utsaheta vimochitum.
What person too attached to household life due to being unable to control his senses can liberate himself? An attached householder is bound very strongly by ropes of affection for his family, wife, children, and other relatives.
Yes. So Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying that as attached householders, which most of us are, that we cannot free ourselves from the senses and come across the material world, because we have so much affection, right, for wife, for children, and for other relatives. And even not only the living entities, but even for money. He says we have all these attachments, and we cannot cut those attachments easily. And now he speaks about the otherworldly attachments, the inanimate attachments.
It's my turn?
Yeah.
Kanavarta Trisham Vishred
Kanavarta Trishnam Vishred
Pranebhyo Piya Ipshita
Pranebhyo Piya Ipshita
Yam Krinati Asubhi Prestais
Yam Krinati Asubhi Prestais
Taskara Sevakovani
Taskara Sevakovani.
Money is so dear that one convinces of money as being sweeter than honey. Therefore, who can give up the desire to accumulate money, especially in household life? Thieves, professional servants, soldiers, and merchants try to acquire money even by risking their very dear lives.
I mean, when a thief, robs a bank or steals from someone, in the Vedic culture, it's described that in the Bhagavad Gita, Purport Prabhupada explains that someone can be killed if they're a thief, or if they steal one's wife, and there's several provisions for killing a thief. But people will still take that risk. There's also soldiers that are professional soldiers, they're mercenaries, and they'll fight for different sides, and they'll risk their lives just to make money. And Prabhupada often kind of criticized this idea that money is the honey, and money is from Lakshmi, and Lakshmi Devi is very chanchala, she's very flickering. So, one moment you can have money and you can lose it. And someone might have some investment and some tariff might happen and everything's very flimsy. The material world, we feel comfortable when we have a big bank balance, but we might forget that we could die at any time. And so Prahlāda Mahārāja is giving us the highest knowledge, and we think we'll live forever, but this is an illusion.
Kutumbha poshayan viyan nijayur. I'll try a different verse. Kutumba poshaya viyan nijayur. Na budhyate ritam vihatam pramattaha. Sarvatra tapatraya dukhitatma. Nirvidyate na svakutumbara maha.
One who is too attached cannot understand that he is wasting his valuable life for the maintenance of his family. He also fails to understand that the purpose of human life, a life suitable for realization of the absolute truth, is being imperceptibly spoiled. However, he is very cleverly attentive to seeing that not a single farthing is lost by mismanagement. Thus, although an attached person in material existence always suffers from threefold miseries, he does not develop a distance for the way of material existence.
Yes. So we've skipped 3 verses in between, in which Prahlāda Mahārāja is saying how a person is so attached to his wife, who is taking care of household works so nicely, speaks sweetly. He's attached to his children who speak in broken language and are so dependent on him. He's attached to his old parents, making sure they get shelter. So how is it possible to give up these attachments? And then he says that by maintaining his family, not that we should give up family maintenance, it's our duty, but part of the maintenance of the family is to ensure that their future, not just this life, future lives are also secure, not just this short-term vision for this life. And sometimes we look at the short-term gain and we think, we are very carefully, like Prabhupada is saying, we are managing every farthing, right? Every penny. And forgetting the bigger goal, that, sometimes you have to sacrifice a penny to gain $1, no? So we may have to sacrifice some places in our material life, not responsibly, so that we don't lose sight of the goal. And even after so much trouble, he's saying, we don't give up on material life, no? But for spiritual life, we have no taste, because we have no understanding. And that's what he's lamenting about.
Viteshu nitya vinivishta cheta.
Viteshu nitya vinivishta cheta.
Vidvamscha dosham paravita hartu.
Vidvamscha dosham paravita hartu.
Vidyehavata tapi ajitendriyastan.
Pratyehavata ajitendriyastan.
Ashanta kama harate kutumbi.
Ashanta kamo harate kutumbi.
If a person is too attached to the duties of family maintenance, is unable to control his senses, the core of his heart is immersed in how to accumulate money. Although he knows that one who takes the wealth of others will be punished by the law of government and the law of Yamraja after death, he continues cheating others to acquire money.
Prabhupada mentions that some people don't believe in the afterlife, but even in this life, if we cheat or the taxes or do some illegal importing, we'll be punished in this life. So we should try to not be cheaters. Like Prabhupada taught us to be humble. When Chaitanya said, more humble than a blade of grass. And it's a kind of arrogant attitude that actually everything belongs to God, to Krishna. So it's a cheating mentality. Even if we have money that we get legally, if we think it's all for me and my family only, then in a sense, we're cheaters. So Prabhupada said this world is a place of the cheaters and the cheated. So, and there's relative truth, like I could say the relative truth and pay my taxes, but the higher truth is that I have a debt to Krishna, to God. So this is the realization we should have.
Vidwan apitam danuja kutumbam Pushnan svalokaya nakalpate vai Yashivya parakya vibhinna bhavas Tama prapadyeta yatha vimudaha.
O my friends, sons of demons, in this material world, even those who are apparently advanced in education have the propensity to consider, this is mine and that is for others. Thus, they're always engaged in providing the necessities of life to their families in a limited conception of family life, just like uneducated cats and dogs. They are unable to take spiritual knowledge. Instead, they are bewildered and overcome by ignorance.
So later on, when Prahlāda Mahārāja offers prayers, and his father is asking him, what did he learn in school? Then in one of those purports, Srila Prabhupada says that material life, which Hiranyakashipu, his father, is teaching him, is to make distinctions. This is my friend, this is my enemy, right? This is my family, these are foreigners. So by dividing the resources that we have, or making this distinction between all children of God, we are actually guilty of dividing the family, right? Of not serving the purpose. So, but this is how material life works, right? We fight amongst ourselves and we consider something is mine, what is mine, I'm going to look after, I'm going to take care of my family, but we forget to take care of others who are brothers and sisters, who may be more or less fortunate, but all of us, without coming to God or understanding that He is the Father, the seed-giving Father, we are actually not helping, we're not making the Father happy. And this is the common misunderstanding we have. So nowadays we see so many wars, right? India just went to war with Pakistan, the Hamas and Israel, Ukraine and Russia. So this same propensity to see distinctions between souls, when actually the soul, all souls are coming from Krishna. And Krishna is our seed-giving Father, right? So we have a responsibility towards every living entity.
Nahi achyutam vinayato.
Nahi achyutam vinayato.
Bhavayasa suratmaja.
Bhavayasha suratmaja.
Atmat sarva bhutanam.
Atmatva sarva bhutanam.
Siddhatvat iha sarvata.
Siddhatvat iha sarvataha.
My dear sons of demon, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayana is the original Super Soul, the father of all living entities. Consequently, there are no impediments to pleasing Him or worshipping Him under any conditions, whether one be a child or an old man. The relationship between the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always a fact, and therefore there is no difficulty in pleasing the Lord.
In the Gita, Krishna says, Aham bija pradapita, I'm the seed-giving father of every living entity. So in this material world, when someone has a parent, it's a very natural relationship. They're close to you. But at the end of this life, we born in another body, we won't be with that same parent or relative. But Krishna is our seed father in all bodies that we may have. So He's the most intimate well-wisher and friend and father. And the idea is that it's easier to be Krishna conscious than to be in material consciousness, because that's our real constitutional position. It's like with a tree, it's easier to water the root of the tree than it is to try to take care of all the branches. And so families are like branches. You might have a cousin in New Jersey, an uncle in Delhi, and another relative that's in the Middle East working in Saudi Arabia. So we have these relatives, but our relationship with Krishna is much more natural, and it's hard to satisfy all of our relatives. But if we can please Krishna, then it's like watering the root of the tree. All the other living entities are satisfied. Like that story in the Mahabharata when the sages showed up for prasadam, and there was no prasadam, but Was it Draupadi that gave? She gave a little bit to Krishna and he was satisfied, and then everyone became satisfied.
Tasmat sarveshu bhuteshu dayam kuruta sauridham bhavam asuram unmuchya yaya tushyati adhoksajaha.
Therefore, my dear young friends born of demons, please act in such a way that the Supreme Lord, who is beyond the conception of material knowledge, will be satisfied. Give up your demoniac nature and act without enmity or duality. Show mercy to all living entities by enlightening them in devotional service, thus becoming their well-wishers.
So here's the compassionate nature of Mahabhagavat. No? Prahlāda Mahārāja is a Mahajan. He's one of our very well-established acharyas or teachers. So he's showing us how we can develop compassion. That we should treat both, even though they are born of demons, he's saying, give up this lower nature and give up this duality. One is friend, one is enemy. Consider everyone our brothers and sisters and be merciful or compassionate to everyone. Right? How? By teaching them about their best goal. What is their ultimate destination? What is their ultimate good? And what is that? Teach them about devotional service and you take it up yourselves. And you become their well-wishers. Do not remain enemies with who you conceive are the devatas. Right? So he's encouraging them to come to a higher understanding.
Tuesday Chatatra Yam Alabhyam Ananta Adye. Kim Te Guna Vyati Karadi Haye Swasiddha.
Kim Te Guna Vyati Karadi Haye Swasiddha.
Dharma Daya Kim Agunena Chakang Shitenu.
Dharma Daya Kim Agunena Chakang Shitena.
Saram Jusam Charanayor Upagayatam Na.
Saram Jusam Charanayor Upagayatam Na.
Nothing is unobtainable for devotees who have satisfied the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, who is the cause of all causes, the original source of everything. The Lord is the reservoir of unlimited spiritual qualities for devotees, therefore, who are transcendental to the modes of material nature. What is the use of following principles of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation, which are all automatically obtainable under the influence of modes of nature? We devotees always glorify the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore we need not ask for anything in terms of dharma, arth, kam, arth, and moksha.
Thank you. So this is a very nice motivational quote, right, by Prahlāda Mahārāja, that nothing is unobtainable for a devotee of the Lord who has satisfied the Lord himself. So he is giving us assurance that if we serve the Lord and satisfy him, we please him, everything is possible. There is no need to look for dharma, artha, kam, moksha separately, because the Lord is above these material modes, which are always giving us some clash, right? Some difficulty. So if we serve the Lord, just like we water the root of a tree, all the branches, leaves, fruits, flowers are satisfied. Similarly, if we serve the Supreme Lord, all our other problems are satisfied. Srila Prabhupada used to say that if you have $1 million, your $1 and $10 and $1,000 problems are solved, right? So if we serve the Supreme Lord, all our other problems will be solved. And here, Prahlāda Mahārāja is giving us that guarantee And the Lord always fulfills the words of his devotee. Dharmartha kama itiyo bhitastri varga Iksha trayina yadamau vividha cha varta Manye tad etad akhilam nigamasya satyam Swatmarpanam swasuridha paramasya pumsaha
Religion, economic development and sense gratification. These are described in the Vedas as three varga or three ways to salvation. Within these three categories are education and self-realization. Ritualistic ceremonies performed according to Vedic injunction, logic, the science of law and order, and the various means of earning one's livelihood. These are the external subject matters of study in the Vedas, and therefore I consider them material. However, I consider surrender to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu to be transcendental.
So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mam cha yogi chari na bhakti yogas yogana sevate sagunam tamati chaitam brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So he's saying that by practicing bhakti yoga will reach the Brahma Bhuta platform, will be transcendental. So that's the state of Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma, Shochati and Kankshati. That state is free from hankering and lamentation. It's full satisfaction. So this is the state of Krishna consciousness. When we're fully surrendered to Krishna, we're in this Brahma Bhuta platform. And only then can we be considered truly above the modes of material nature. Krishna says, Nistray Gunyo Vavarjun, be free from the modes of nature. So this is the actual stable position that we can perform devotional service from. And if we're on the Brahma Bhuta platform, that's the best thing we can do for our family and for the world. Because as Maji was saying, there's all these wars, there's all this anxiety. So we need to be someone that's not, in the 1960s, it said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So with all the problems in the world, it's a result of the consciousness of the people. So very few people are even striving for this Brahma Bhuta platform. But by chanting Hare Krishna and following the regular principles and reading these books and associating with the devotees, we'll gradually develop this Brahma Bhuta platform. Even at the time of disaster, like Prabhupada recalled his childhood when there was Japanese were bombing Calcutta, and Prabhupada said, I was thinking the bombs are another aspect of Krishna. So even though the bombing was going on, Prabhupada was thinking of Krishna, and he was in a very comfortable spiritual consciousness. So this is why Prabhupada named his society the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. So we want the Krishna consciousness. We don't require anything else ultimately, but we have these duties as his family members, and these verses are very strong. But even Prahlāda Mahārāja, he was just a boy here, but he became a Grihastha later. And so most of us will go through the Grihastha life with family, relatives, but we have to be above the chaos, like the lotuses growing out of the mud. So this material world is full of mud, of impurity, but through Krishna consciousness we can purify our consciousness. Is it my turn to chant?
Yeah.
Yanam tade tadamalam durvapami aham. Narayano narasaka kila naradaya. Ekantini mam bhagavatascha tadakinchananam. Padaravinda rajas sapluta dehinam shat.
Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the well-wisher and friend of all living entities, formally explained this transcendental knowledge to the great saint Narada. Such knowledge is extremely difficult to understand without the mercy of a saintly person like Narada, but everyone who has taken shelter of Narada's disciplic succession can understand this confidential knowledge.
Thank you. So here Prahlāda Mahārāja is making a very important point, that this transcendental knowledge, this knowledge coming from the spiritual world, was originally spoken by Narayan himself to Narad Muni. And Narad Muni then spoke it to Prahlāda when he was in the womb of his mother. So this knowledge, this Gyan is coming through Parampara. And this Parampara system is very important for us in order to understand spiritual life, to understand God, and to establish our relationship. So we cannot say that just by reading the books at home, listening to some lectures, I can understand God. Just like one cannot become a lawyer or cannot become a doctor or a surgeon without going to school and studying under a certified professional, right? So similarly for spiritual life, it is very important for us to come under disciplic succession, under parampara, so we get the right knowledge. Just like we take so much care to choose a school for our education, we also should be very careful to choose the right guru or spiritual master for our spiritual life. And therefore, we test the parampara. We make sure that the line we are following is true and it's pure and genuine. Just like we will go to school or some trade school and make sure that it is accredited by the state, by that profession. So this is an important point for us. And finally,
Shrutametan maya purvam.
Shrutametan maya purvam.
Jnanam vijnana samyutam.
Jnana vijnana samyutam.
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham.
Dharmam bhagavatam shuddham.
Narada deva darshanat.
Narada deva darshanat.
Prahlāda Mahārāja continued, I received this knowledge from the great saint Narad Muni, who is always engaged in devotional service. This knowledge, which is called Bhagavad Dharma, is fully scientific. It is based on logic and philosophy and is free from all material contamination.
So it's hard to imagine the Bhagavatam without Narada Muni. He, in the very first canto, even Vyasadeva, the great compiler of the Vedas, was feeling a little unsatisfied. And Narada Muni came to him and sort of asked, "What's your problem?" And he answered that question himself by telling Vyasa that you've taught Dharma in terms of the Mahabharata and you've taught various religious principles, but you haven't actually glorified Krishna enough. And, the Mahabharata, everyone's trying to do the right thing. Yudhisthira Maharaj, very great soul, but he was, at the end of the Battle of Kurukshetra, he felt quite distraught for all the people that died. So in this world, Narada was teaching that there's so many dharmas. In the very first part of the Bhagavatam, it's described that this dharma projita kaitavatra, that this Srimad Bhagavatam kicks out all materially motivated dharmas. So there's so many different dharmas. We have Kula Dharma, or family Dharma, and that's very important. We shouldn't, write it off. But who can say they can satisfy every one of their family members? It's very difficult. And this is part of this story of Nrsimhadeva's appearance, and when Kashyapa was trying to make his son follow the family dharma, and the family business of Hiranyakashipu was to be a big cheater. He was very aggressive, and he did all these austerities. He even took the post of Indra and was, terrorizing the universe. So, and he wanted his son to continue in the family business, so to speak. And he's a big demon, and he wants his son to be a nice demon. So this is the Kula Dharma, the family Dharma. So sometimes our family is wrong. Sometimes, like in the Ramayana, Ravan was wrong, and Vibhishan was supposed to, pat him on the back and support him, but Vibhishan told the truth, even though it enraged Ravan. So this family Dharma, this Kula Dharma, it's important, but it's not the supreme Dharma. And but we should, if we're family members, we should cooperate in Krishna consciousness. There may be, in certain families, there's maybe one family member is a little more serious about Krishna consciousness than another one. So we shouldn't criticize the one that's not so Krishna conscious. We should try to inspire them to develop more Krishna consciousness. We should help each other, because in the material world, there's so much strife and problems. We need to be on the same page. So in these books of Srila Prabhupada, he's trying to get us to focus on Krishna consciousness. And so then there's the Varnashram Dharma, which is important. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna said, I have my duty as a... Krishna said, you have your duty as a soldier, so you should fight. But even Varnashram Dharma is difficult to always practice. And in Kali Yuga, we don't see so many perfect Brahmins, we don't see perfect Kshatriyas, we don't see perfect honorable businessmen, even Shudras, people that like to serve others are hard to find. It's hard to find good servants or good employees in our business. And It's even harder to find a pure devotee, but Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee, and his books, if we follow his teachings and his example, following what Prahlāda Mahārāja says of the Bhagavad Dharma, and a little bit of, we put money in different investments, but we invest in Krishna consciousness. It's ultimately the most important investment, and it yields the highest, profit.
So I will just summarize what this chapter. So congratulations, we have read most of the verses in one chapter of the Bhagavatam today. So you see, with all the explanation and all that, it's taking us about an hour. And if we are reading it on our own, we can learn. It is easy to do, and it is considered to be one of the most potent ways of advancing in Krishna consciousness. So just to summarize, we first learned how to utilize the human form of life. Prahlāda Mahārāja spoke about that. Then he spoke about how we misuse our human life. And then finally, he gave us the solution, how to correct our course by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and then taking up devotional service under the direction of a spiritual master. So as we were saying, this Bhagavatam is available for us, and if you do not have a set, then I'm sure the devotees here will be happy to give you a set. And if you have a set, just make some time, even if a chapter a day, or even if we read a verse a day, the benefit is out of this world. So that is our request, to follow in the parampara. Srila Prabhupada was an old man. He did not sleep at night, so he could give us this knowledge. And the way we can honor his legacy, honor the work he did, the service we did, is that we can at least read the books, and we can also discuss it and then teach others. Just like Prahlāda Mahārāja, he's teaching his classmates. He's 5 years old. And then we are preparing our consciousness to receive Nrsimhadeva, which is going to be tomorrow. So I thought this is a good way for us to prepare our hearts and our minds to receive the Supreme Lord, and start thinking about how we are going to please Him when He appears tomorrow. So I would like to say thank you so much. And as we were saying, we have some of the books. Srila Prabhupada wrote many books, but he also encouraged his disciples to write books. So my spiritual master, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, has written several books about this Krishna consciousness movement, and we have them. So when you get a chance after the program, please have a look and pick some which will be useful for you and help you also inspire you in Krishna consciousness. Some of them are direct, his commentary on letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote. The very famous one is Servant of the Servant, up to his thesis for his PhD. So a whole gamut of literature based on the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, but presented in contemporary form for the regular people and also for academics. So we don't have much time, but we are happy to talk with you later. And thank you so much for this opportunity and for also participating and doing this together, so we can all benefit by hearing and chanting the Srimad Bhagavatam together. Gantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Does anybody have any questions for Prabhuji and Mataji? It was so nice to hear, like you said, Mataji, Narad Muni came and did this, taught this spiritual education to Prahlāda Mahārāja. So just like Narad Muni travels all over the world, glorifying the Supreme Lord and meeting his devotees, similarly we thank Prabhuji and Mataji. Just like Narad Muni, they are like our spiritual gurus. They have traveled all the way from Houston at this age, despite all the inconveniences. But we thank you so much for coming all the way from Houston and guiding us on this special occasion of Narsimha Chaturdashi. So we'll thank them again by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And it was so nice that they were talking about Prahlāda Mahārāja's teachings, and we had so many small kids here listening attentively. So thank you so much. Would you like to talk about the books, Mataji?
Yeah, a little bit. So I was talking about Servant of the Servant. This is His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaja's letters that Srila Prabhupada wrote to him. And he discusses also how they started book distribution and what his aspiration was to serve Srila Prabhupada. Then this one called Hare Krishna at SMU. These are the essays he wrote. I think, yeah, essays he wrote during his coursework as an undergrad at Southern Methodist University. Then we had a god sister whose name was Kirtida. She passed away before Tamal Krishna Maharaj, about 6 months earlier. So when she passed away, Maharaj asked my husband to write a biography, since my husband writes. So this is a biography of a nurse who was born in South Africa. And you know, we sometimes say in the Bhagavatam there are many stories of people who attain perfection. Show me someone. I don't know anyone. I get this question sometimes. So this is a book which shows how someone, by applying these teachings, can attain perfection in this lifetime. So it's very inspiring. It also speaks about end of life. So how to take care of people when they're leaving their bodies, how to prepare ourselves. And it is written from the perspective of an outsider. So if someone is not familiar with our Vedic culture, they can still, they can understand our philosophy. So this is the true biography. And then there's a series of 3 books which are memories of Tamal Krishna Maharaj by his disciples. So you get a glimpse about the person behind the thundering voice on the Vyasasan, you know, like the more intimate parts. So this one's, my husband compiled this, and then this is a book that he wrote. So he'll be available to sign them for you if you like. And then, of course, we have other books, but we will put them out for you. So thank you so much for giving us this time. Hare Krishna. Then we go into the next program.
Okay. All right, let's thank them once again by loudly chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So next in our program today, since we are celebrating Narsimha Chaturdashi, many of the parents here know the secret already, but we are going to have a special attraction. We have our Dhruva class kids. They'll be performing Sri Narsimha Kavacham. So like Mataji and Prabhuji talked about the teachings of Prahlāda Mahārāja, from Srimad Bhagavatam. This is another prayer, Narsimha Kavacham, as the name itself represents. It's the kavach, it's the protection. Just like Nrsimhadeva is here to protect us, not just physically, but also protects our bhakti so that we can grow in our devotional service. So this Narsimha Kavacham is an offering by Srila Prahlāda Mahārāja to Nrsimhadeva. And today we'll have kids from our ISKCON Cincinnati congregation. They'll be reciting Sri Narsimha Kavacham. So are we all ready for that? Hari Hari Bol! So we are waiting for our kids. Meanwhile, a couple of announcements. So while the kids are lining up here, announcements about our prasadam. So as we know, and for those who are new, we always have Mahaprasadam at the end of the program, and we would like to thank multiple families today. It was 5-year-old Prahlāda Mahārāja who did, and I think we have almost 4 families who are sponsoring the Mahaprasadam today. So we would like to take this moment to thank them for their generosity and service towards the Vaishnavas. There are 2 anonymous donor families who don't want to say out their names. And then there is also 2 other families, the deities today, like you take darshan of Shri Radha Shyamsundar. They are the wonderful deities of Her Grace, Shri Radha Ras Bihari ji, sorry, I was yes, I was transferred to Vrindavan, so I was looking at Shri Radha Shyam. But yeah, Shri Radha Ras Bihari ji of Her Grace Shama Priya Mataji. So thank you Mataji for the wonderful seva that she always done, a lot of seva in the background. And So we thank her for her kind generosity. And then also it is the birthday of another little girl. Her name is Krishna, and she's the daughter of Upendra Prabhu and Durga Mataji. So we thank them for sponsoring the Prasadam today as well. So let's loudly chant Hari Bol 3 times and thank these wonderful families of devotees for their kind-hearted service towards the Vaishnavas. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And also, next weekend, May 17th, we are going to be celebrating Mango Festival and 8-hour Kirtan. So we'll have congregations. It's called Midwest Kirtan Fest. Right? So Midwest, including Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. So we'll have devotees coming from all the different cities, from Indianapolis, from Louisville, from Columbus, from Cincinnati, of course. And we'll have an 8-hour Kirtan along with the wonderful Mango Festival. So we have a lot of sponsorship opportunities available for that also. If you'll be interested to sponsor Prasadam for that special festival next weekend, you can reach out to us. And we'll have His Holiness Chandramauli Swami Maharaj, who is a very senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He'll be here with us to bless us and guide us on that day next weekend. So I think now the kids are ready and very, very excited to recite the Sri Narsimha Kavacham. So we'll invite all the kids, and we would invite the teachers who have worked tirelessly in preparing them for this day. So Her Grace Anandini Gopika Mataji, ready?
Don't cover the deities.
We are starting with Narsimha Caturdashi for the treasure of the Lord. All the kids have worked hard to try and memorize, or at least. Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Dandavat Pranam. This is our Dhruva class and some kids from Balgopal class, and this is our first time where they are giving a little offering to Lord Narsimha on Narsimha Chaturdashi. all the kids have been working. They have been allotted some verses where they are going to try speak them fluently. They all have papers, so they can read if they would like, and just please encourage them in their first endeavor. Thank you. So we will say the first verse together. Okay?
Oh my God! Why is everyone staring at me?
Whenever you're ready.
Narsimha Cavacam Vakshe Prahladenotidam Pura Sarva Rakshakaram Punyam Sarva Padyavanashanam Sarva Sampatkaram Cheva Swarga Moksha Pradayakam Tyatva Narsimham Devesham Hema Simhasanastitam.
Vivritasya trinayanam sharad indu samaprabham lakshamyalingitava mangam vibhuti birupashatam chaturbhujam komalangam swarna kundala shobhitam saroja shobhito raskam ratnakeyur mudritam.
Tapta kanchana sankasham pita nirmala vasasam Indrarishula Modista Swaran Manakya Diptivihi
Virajita Padadvandvam Shanka Chakrati Hitebihi Gurutmata Chavinayata Stuya Manamudanvitam Swarit Kamala Samvasam Skritva Tu Kavachampate Narsimha Misirapatu Loka Rakshata Sambhava
Sarva Gopi Stambhavasa Phalam me rakshatu dvanim Narsimho me disho patu Soma suryagni lochanaha
Smita me patu narahari Muni varyasuti piyaha Nasa me simana sastu Mukham lakshmi mukha piyaha Sarva vidya dipa patu Narsimho rasana mama Bhaktram patu indu vadanam Sada prahlada vandita Narsimha patu me kantam Skandu bhubradanantakrat Devyasla sobhita bhuja Narsimha patu me bhuja
Karume deva varedo Narsimha patu sarvataha Hiddam yogi sadayasha Niva sampatu me hari Madhyam patu hiranyaksha Vaksha kukshi vidayanaha Nabhyam me patu narahari Svanabhi brahma samstataha.
Is it 50? It's Vedant. It's your turn, Vedant. I know, Vedant.
Brahmanda kotaya katyam yasya supatu me katim guya me patu guyanam mantra nam guya rupadrik
Rumano bhava patu janu nira rupadrik jange patu tarapara hartayo nagar keshari Sura raja pata patu patu me naraheshvaraha sahasa shirsha purusha patu me sharvasastanum Manogra purvata patu mahaviragra jaunita mahavishnu dakshinetu mahajwalasnairata Pashime patu sarvesho deshime sarvatomukha Narsima patu vayavyam sumyam pushna vigraha
Ishanyam patu vatrume sarva mangaldaika samsara vayata patu muttirnikish Idam Narsimha Kavacam Prahlāda Mukhamanditam Bhakti Manya Pathai Nityam Sarva Pape Pramuchyate
Putra Vandana Vanloke Dirga Yurupajate Yam Yam Kamete Kamam Tam Tam Prapnati Ashayam Sarvatra Jam Apnoti Sarvatra Vijay Bhavet Bhumi Antriksha Divyanam Grahanam Vinivaranam
Vrishakora Sambhuta Vishaparanam Param Brahmarakshasa Yakshanam Doti Atsvarana Karanam
Puje Vatala Patreva Kavatam Ligatam Shubham Kara Mudadritam Yena Sirayu Karma Siddhaya
देवासुरमनशेषु स्वं स्वमेव जयं लभेत एकसन्द्रं त्रिसन्द्रं वा ये पठेनीतो नरः सर्वमङ्गलमङ्गलं भुक्तं नक्तं च विन्दति प्राप्तिं सति सहस्राणि पतिषुदात्मनां निर्णम् कवचस्य मन्त्रस्य मन्त्रसेदे प्रजायते अनेन मन्त्रराजेन कटिवश्ववीर्मन्त्रणम्
तिलकं विप्रियादस्तु तस्य ग्रहभयं हरेत् देवारं जपमानस्तु दत्तं वाराभिमन्त्र्य च
प्रसायेद्यो नरमन्तं नरसिंहादयनमाचारेत् तस्य रोगप्रणाशन्ति ये च सुकुक्षिसम्भवा
किमत्र भवनोक्तेन नरसिंहसदृशो भवेत् मनसानां चित्तयं यत् सतच्चप्नोत्य संशयम्
गर्जन्तं गर्जयन्तं निजभुजपटलं स्फोटयन्तं हदन्तं दीप्यन्तं तापयन्तं दिवि भुवि दिजितं क्षेपयन्तं क्षिपन्तं क्रन्दन्तं रोषयन्तं दिशि दिशि सततं संहरन्तं भरन्तं वीक्षन्तं पूर्णयन्तं कर्णिकरसतिर्दिव्यसिंहो नमामि कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
How many of you know this Narsimha Cavacham? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 adults. And we have here more than 15 kids who learned it. So a little bit better applaud can work, right? Let's encourage them. Thank you so much. So they really worked hard. Getting everyone together to chant this Narsimha Cavacham was really a good job. Kudos to the teachers. Now we have a special performance, it seems like, which is a surprise. अभी क्या करेंगे? Now everybody would like to be Prahlāda Mahārāja, correct? Or have at least bhakti like Prahlāda Mahārāja. How many of you would like to see Narasimha Bhagwan? I didn't see any hands go up. Oh, now I see hands go up. So if you would like to see Narasimha Bhagwan, say loudly chant Hare Krishna mantra. Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Once again, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहम् उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमाम्यहम्
Bhagwan ki
Jai!
Bhakti Shrimani Prahlāda Mahārāja ki
Jai! Was this amazing or what? So let's chant big Hari Bol for Vishwanath Prabhu, Kamal Krishna Prabhu, and our little Prahlāda Maharaj. Thank you so very much.
Okay, we have Indu and Nimai. So, little Prahlad. Let's loudly chant Hari Bol 3 times again. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. All right, we have one more final performance by little Indu and Nimai. Come on, come forward. Or you want to sit there? Okay. Yes, you can use this one.
Hare Krishna. My name is Induleka and I'm going to tell the story about Prahlāda and Nrsimhadeva. Once there lived a demon king named Hiranyakashipu and his wife's name was Kayadu, and Hiranyakashipu did a lot of meditation, so he got some boons from Lord Brahma. The boons were he cannot get killed by a human, animal or weapons, and he cannot get killed outside or inside, and he cannot get killed in the day or night, and he cannot get killed in the sky and the earth. And then one day Indra stole Kayadu because she was getting a child, and then by the way Narada Muni stopped Indra and said, don't take Kayadu because she is going to get a pure devotee. And then Hiranyakashipu took them back to Narada Muni took them to an ashram, and then when the baby was born, Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu took them back to the palace, and then Prahlāda Mahārāja, he was a devotee, and then Hiranyakashipu became very angry by hearing that he was chanting Vishnu's name, and then one day he told, where is your God? I want to see him. And then Prahlad said, he's in everything and everywhere. And then Hiranyakashipu, he pointed to a pillar and said, is he in this? And then Prahlad said, yes. And then Hiranyakashipu with his gada smashed the pillar, and then Nrsimhadeva came out, and then they had a war, and then after that in the evening Hiranyakashipu was killed by claws, and he was half man and half lion, and he was killed in the evening. And then Nrsimhadeva was very angry and everybody was scared, and that's why Lakshmi Mata asked the pure devotee Prahlad to calm him down. So with his prayers he calmed Nrsimhadeva down. Hare Krishna. I'm going to tell about Prahlad's qualities. Prahlad is a great devotee of the Lord. He is having full faith. He never loses his hope. He is having patience and tolerance. He doesn't have ego. He faced so many problems, but he didn't get any pain because he is having full faith on the Lord. He never does wrong things to anyone. He is always in good side. He is very sincere and humble devotee of the Lord. So we should be like that.
Hari Bol. Let's loudly chant Hari Bol 3 times for Indu and Nimai. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. So as Narad Muni was teaching young Prahlad, here of course their parents, Balakrishna Prabhu and Shripriya Mataji, and then of course all our wonderful teachers. We thank with gratitude our teachers. They put in so much of sincere effort every weekend while we are taking the advantage of listening to the classes here. We have so many teachers in our Bal Gopal class and the Dhruva class and Parikshit class, our teenage group. They have classes every weekend while we are listening here. So we thank all the teachers from our heart, bottom of our heart, by trying to chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. That they are so nicely teaching these wonderful kids who are following in the footsteps of Prahlāda Mahārāja. So Hare Krishna. We'll have quick, anybody here for the first time? I know there are a few devotees last weekend we couldn't recognize. Anybody here for the first time today? Anybody? Yes, Prabhu. So if you could just let us, do you have a mic there? Okay. That's mic. Can you take that back, Riya? If you could let us know your name, Prabhu, where you're from, and how did you hear about ISKCON Cincinnati?
My name is Murthy. I'm from Bangalore, and I'm with my wife Anita Shankar here. We heard about this temple a couple of months ago when I think for Rama Pratishtha, I think I met the team singing Kirtans in the Sai temple, and then I have my colleague here, Rakesh. He's talked about this temple, and then I'm here today to witness this glorious gathering.
Hari Bol. Let's welcome them loudly by chanting Hari Bol 3 times. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Rakesh Prabhu is our mind of 25th century or 21st century. So you should listen to him. He is purified mind, not the mind that is contaminated. Thank you, Rakesh Prabhu, for bringing them here. Anybody else here for the first time? No? Okay. So the next part of our program would be Aarti. Yes. Okay, so we'll all stand for the Aarti. Okay, so yes, we'll have a quick cake cutting before we start the Aarti, so that again we thank all our little wonderful kids for their patience and for their wonderful performance. So we want to recognize all the wonderful performances by our kids. We'll have cake cutting first before we start the Aarti. So all the kids, if you can quickly line up here in the front, we have.
Yeah, about the cake cutting. Hare Krishna everyone. So today we are having a double celebration. So tomorrow is Narsimha Chaturdashi. We had a wonderful recitation of the Narsimha Kavaca and a beautiful play by the little kids. Tomorrow is also Mother's Day. So of course we will be celebrating our mothers and our eternal mother Radharani. But actually the Shastras have described 7 mothers. So I would like to recite a shlok from the scriptures which Srila Prabhupada quoted in Bhagavatam as well, which talks about we don't just have one mother, we have 7 mothers. So the shlok is Atma Mata Guru Patni Brahmani Raja Patnika Dhenur Dhatri Tatha Prithvi Saptita Matra Samrita. So Saptita Matra Samrita. We all have 7 mothers. So who are those 7 mothers? One's own mother. Second, the wife of the Guru. Third, the wife of Brahmanas. Fourth, wife of the king. Fifth, the cow. Sixth, the nurse. And 7th, Mother Earth. So these are all our mothers. So today, to celebrate that, we have 7 cakes to celebrate the 7 mothers on the auspicious occasion of Mother's Day and Narsimha Chaturdashi. And of course, we have a cake for Lord Narsimha. So I would request Mother Guru Bhakti. Mother Guru Bhakti, can you please join the kids? We are going to, So she is our wonderful speaker for today. I would also request all the Matajis to please join because we are celebrating Mother's Day, and all the would-be mothers, because we have a couple here. Please join all the, just kind of come close because we are cutting the cake to celebrate Mother's Day. Also, we have several birthdays. Today is Shama Priya Mataji's birthday. Big Hari Bol to Shama Priya Mataji. Also, I think yesterday was Jennifer Mataji's birthday. She's not here. Another devotee who's been coming. So a lot to celebrate. So we are good to go.
And we also want to recognize His Grace Jerry Prabhu and Her Grace Priya Radhika Mataji. They also were celebrating their anniversary yesterday. So let's loudly chant Hari Bol 3 times for them. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hari Hari Bol. Okay, next we'll have Aarti. So we can come forward. There are a lot of devotees at the back, so please come forward for the Aarti. आगे आ जाइए जो पीछे खड़े हैं।
जय गौरा चांदे आरती को शोभा। की बजायो जय गौरा चांदे आरती को शोभा। जानावी तटवाने जगा मन लोभा। गौरंगे आरती के शोभा जगा जन माना लोभा। गौरंगे आरती के शोभा जगा जन माना लोभा। गौरंगे आरती के शोभा जगा जन माना लोभा। शिव दखिन निताय चांद भामे गदाधारा। निकटे अद्वैताशिनी वासा चक्रधारा। निकटे वासा चक्रधारा। की बाबोशी आचे गौरा चांद रत्ना सिंहासने। की बाबोशी आचे गौरा चांद सिंहासने। आरती को रेना ब्रह्मा आदि देवगाने। आरती को रेना आदि देवगाने। की बनारा हरि आदि कोरी चावर ढुलाया। संजया मुकुंदा बासु घोषे आदि गाया। संजया मुकुंदा घोषादि गाया। की बाशंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला। की बाशंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे बाजे करताला। माधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला। माधुरा मृदंगा बाजे परम रसाला। शंखा बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे।
माधुर 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 बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे कि बाबू कोटि चंद्राजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला कि बाबू कोटि चंद्राजिनी वदन उज्ज्वला गाला देशे बाणमाला कोरे जलमाला गाला देशे बाणमाला कोरे जलमाला शिवा शिवा सुखनाराधा गदा गदा शिव शिव नाराधा गदा गदा भक्ति विनोदा देखे गौरा संपादा गौरंगे आरती के शोभा जगा जन माना लोभा 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 नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांता स्वामिन्निति नामिने वेदांता स्वामी नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशधारिणे सरस्वती देवे निर्विशेषा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा शिवासादि और भक्त वृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा गौर भक्त वृंद कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari, Radhe. Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari, Radhe. Jaya Lakshmi Narayana
Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi 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 Narasimha Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gaura Premanande Hari Jai Vishnupadaya Paramahansa Prajakacharya Ashtottama Sri Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Vishnupadaya Paramahansa Prajakacharya Ashtottama Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिर गोवर्धन धाम की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की गंगामयी यमुनामाई की तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की मायापुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की वृंदावन धाम की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga.
Everybody can sit for Nrsimha prayer.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Prahlāda Dahine.
Prahlāda Dahine.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Shilatankanakalaye.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha.
Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha.
Yato yato yamitato Narsimha.
Yato yato yamitato Narsimha.
Hare Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha.
Ahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha.
Narasimhadeva Sharanam Prapade.
Narasimhadeva Sharanam Prapade.
Kara Kamala Vale Naka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhenga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadish
कमलवरे नाकाम अद्भुत शृंगार ललिता हिरण्यकशिपु तानुभृंगा केशवदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे केशवदीता नरहरि रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय नरसिंहदेव जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय श्री प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौरा हरि बोल नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय श्री रमणी भक्त प्रहलाद की श्रील प्रभुपाद की We all can stand for Tulasi Aarti now.
वृंद्याय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। वृंद्याय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। वृंद्याय तुलसी देव्याय प्रियाय केशवश च विष्णु भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः। नमो नमः तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः
तुलसी कृष्णा प्रेयसी नमो नमः।
राधा कृष्ण शिव प्रभु अभिलाषी राधा कृष्ण शिव प्रभु अभिलाषी नमो Tulasi Krishna Preyasi Namo Namah. ये तुम्हारा शरण लो तारा वंश पूर्ण हो.
ये तुम्हारा शरण लो तारा वंश पूर्ण.
कृपा करे करो तारे वृंदावन वासी.
कृपा करे करो तारे
वृंदावन वासी. ये मोरा विलास कुंज दियो मोरा विलास कुंज दियो. नयन हेरिवो सदा युगल रूप राशि. नयन हेरिवो सदा युगल रूप राशि. हे निवेदन धरो सखीर अनुगत करो.
निवेदन धरो सखीर अनुगत करो.
सेवादि कर दिए गुरु निज दासी.
सेवादि कर दिए गुरु निज दासी.
दीन कृष्ण दासे कोई न मोरा होय.
दीन कृष्ण दासे कोई न मोरा होय.
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भाषी.
श्री राधा गोविंद प्रेमे सदा ये न भाषी.
यानी कानी जप प्राणी ब्रह्म अत्यधिकानि च.
यानी ब्रह्मात्यादिकानि च.
तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे.
तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे.
यानि कानि च पापानि ब्रह्म अत्यधिकानि च. यानि कानि च
पापानि ब्रह्मात्यादिकानि च.
तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे.
तानि तानि प्रणश्यन्ति प्रदक्षिणा पदे पदे.
कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे.
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Vrindyai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha.
Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha.
Vrindyai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha.
Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha.
Vrindyai Tulsi Devyai Priyai Keshavasacha Vishnu Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha.
तुलसी महारानी की
जय,
श्रीला प्रभुपाद की
जय. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So, like we announced at the beginning, for those who joined us a little later, next weekend also is a very, very special festival. We are going to celebrate the first mango festival, Aam Divas in India, in ISKCON Cincinnati. Like we said, we'll have His Holiness Chandraboli Maharaj. It is going to be an 8-hour Midwest Kirtan. So we'll have 3 different states Indiana, Ohio, as well as Kentucky. Devotees coming from all the different cities to join us, and we'll have 8-hour Kirtan. So we have a sponsor. He remains to be anonymous, but let's thank this Hari Bhakta. He has sponsored 500 mangoes. 500 aam इन्होंने sponsor किए हैं for the mango festival decoration. Hari Hari Bol! So we thank them for their generous contribution. And again, if anybody else is interested to sponsor the prasadam, please see one of us. The other announcement is Mataji is here, Guru Bhakti Mataji. So we see when we come in the center at 5 to 5:30, we have a lot of kids. Our ISKCON Cincinnati Kids Mandali doing Kirtan. And last weekend, or Monday and Tuesday, when Radheshyam Prabhu, His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu was here, we recognized a few of our kids, students, three kids who have been teaching harmonium classes for little kids. So we recognized Harshika and Ria. And today I also want to recognize Prisha because she was not there that day. But all three of you can come up. Mataji, if you'd like you to, please recognize them. They teach harmonium class for our little kids. So the other kids are also learning harmonium, and then they are doing Kirtan in the center when they come in the 5 o'clock. So we want you to please. So again, all the dakshina that they get, 50% of that they have contributed towards our ISKCON Cincinnati temple. Hari Hari Bo! So 50% has gone towards the temple, and then the rest 50% is given to the kids. So this is for Prisha, Harshika, and I don't see Riya here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If any of your kids are interested to learn harmonium classes, we are probably going to start new batches from June. So please see again me or one of the devotees here, and we would like to enroll your kids for harmonium classes from next month. So, Hare Krishna. Yes. So the question was, what is the timing for next week's program? So the 8-hour Midwest Kirtan is going to start from 12 o'clock and it's going to go up to 8 o'clock. And in between, of course, we'll have a lot of, like I said, devotees coming from other cities. So we'll have the whole 8 hours for that. We'll have the mango festival. We'll have good celebration here. We'll have good decoration of the whole altar with mangoes. And it's going to be a wonderful celebration. And at the end, of course, we'll have wonderful, wonderful Mahaprasadam to honor and relish. So thank you. And now we'll have Prasadam prayers, and then we'll honor the Prasadam. So kids, good.
Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Swapa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwashvane Vajayate Sharira Vidyaja Jonendriyata Hekal Jive Pele Vishaya Sagore Tara Madhe Jivati Dobo Moisular Mati Katina samsare Krishna bala dayamoy Kari bare jiva joy Swaprasadana dilova Sainamritapa Radha Krishna Guna Gao Premeda Koshi Chaitanya Nitai Jenny Mai Jenny Tai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sade Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Hare
Prasadam ki jai.
Okay, so Prasadam, as we all know, is at the back, so we'll form a queue there. And as we go there, there's also our book distribution center at the back. His Grace Vishwanath Prabhu would be there, like Mataji was mentioning. Today is a very, very auspicious day to take home a Srimad Bhagavatam set. So for those who don't have a Srimad Bhagavatam, please see Vishwanath Prabhu, our spiritualized Hiranyakashipu. So he is there waiting for all of us at the back. So please do take a set of Srimad Bhagavatam today on this very auspicious day of Sri Narsimha Chaturdashi. Hare Krishna.